is Managerial Economics and Finance class taken by Mr. Adeshino Azim. What is managerial economics? Under the nature and the scope of managerial economics, we need to first of all explain to ourselves what managerial economics is all about. So, managerial economics can be defined as an integration of economic theory with the business practice for the purpose of facilitating decision making and forward. And it could also be defined according to the use of economic models to analyze the business situations. So we have characteristics of managerial economics. The following characteristic of managerial economics will also indicate its natures. Number one, microeconomics. Microeconomics are the problems of an individual business unit. It does not study the problems of the entire economy, but it studies the problem of an individual business unit. Then normative science. Managerial economics is also a normative science because it concentrates with what management should do under the particular circumstances, because it determines the goals of an enterprise that develop the way to achieve these goals. Then it is also pragmatics. Managerial economics is pragmatic simply because it concentrates on making the economic theory more applications oriented, because it tries to solve the managerial's problem in their day-to-day functioning. It is also prescriptive. So, as I was saying, to apply the economic concept and the principle to solve the business problems, that is another objective of managerial economics. And at the same time, to allocate the scarce resources in the optimal manner, and at the same time to minimize the risk and uncertainty of a business unit. Then it is also to help in demands and sales forecasting. Then help in formulating the business policy and help in the profit maximizations. So, having defined or discussed the objective of the managerial economics, the scope of managerial Yes. Some the the cost and the production analysis. So a wise manager will prepare cost estimate of the range of an output, then identify the factor causing variations in their cost, then the cost minimizing output level, taking also into the consideration the degree of uncertainty in the production and the cost calculations. Then we talk of pricing price. Yes, part of the scope of the managerial economics is that another tax before the managerial is the pricing of the product. And since a firm's income and the product depends mainly on the price decision, so the pricing policies and all such decisions are to be taken after care analysis of the what of the nature of the market in which the firm is operate. Then profit maximizations. Each and every attended they need to be expecting the profit. And it is the profit which provide the chief mayor of the success of the then we have the capital management. This is still another most challenging problems for a modern managerial economics because it's of planning capital investment. So investments are made in the plant and machineries, buildings, which are very high. So as a result of that, the as a result of that, they are as a result of that, the capital management requires top level decisions. It requires top levels decision. So we still have inventory management. So a firm should also always keep an ideal quantity of the stock. So if the stock is too much, the capital is unnecessarily locked up in the inventory. And at the same time, if the level of the inventory is low, the production will be interrupted due to non-availability of the materials. So that is that on that. Then we still have the linear programming and the theory of the games, environmental issues, the business cycles. Now, what are the roles of managerial economics? The managerial economics play a vital role in modern business because it helps the management of a firm in because has to take into consideration such an external factor as the growth of the national income, the volume of the trade, and the general price trend for its policy decisions. Then we have it also serves as a business plan and forecasting. So the business economists can help the management in the formation of their businesses plan by forecasting and an economic environment. So the management can easily decide the timing and the locations of their specific actions. So managerial economics has to interpret the national economic trend and industrial outlook for their relevant to the firm in the timing and the location of their specific actions. So study of business operations is another roles of the managerial economics. So the business economists can also help the management in decision making relating to the internal operation of the firm. That is, in so the analysis by applying the economic can invest and seminars. So they also to take up assignment on special subject, on special subject. Managerial economics and other related discipline. Managerial economics and statistics. The statistics provide several tools to managerial economics. So we have the statistical techniques are used in collecting, marshalling, and analyzing business data that makes possible an empirical testing of an economic generalizations before they are applied for decision making. So the economics generalizations cannot be fully accepted until they are verified and found valid against the real data. So the theory of the probabilities and the forecasting techniques help the managers in decision making. So managerial economics and the mathematics, that shows how related these things are, these subjects are. Mathematics is especially of a great importance to the managers when several economic relationships are logical in the analysis of economic events. So it provides clarity of the concept and also help to establish a quantitative relationship. Now we still have the managerial economics and operation research. Operation research as it is and managerial economics are related to a certain extent because of their operations and calculative in nature. So the operation research is the application of mathematical and statistical techniques in solving the business problem. So it is or as a formula that has been designed by somebody, used, which is of help in making a decision in one way or the other. Then there is also relationship between the managerial economics and accounting. Now, accounting is closely related to the managerial economics because it's the main source of data regarding the operations, the operations and functioning of the firm. And if we are saying this, if you are talking of this, that means the accounting data and the statement represent the what? The language of the business. So a business manager needs market information for decision making, and the profit and loss statement reflect the operational efficiency of the firm. Now, we have demand forecasting. What is demand forecasting? That is future is uncertain. You are forecasting for the time coming. the factor that govern the demand forecast. That is when we are talking of prevailing business conditions. So while preparing demand forecast, it becomes necessary to study the general economic condition very carefully, because it includes the price level changes, the change in the national income, the change in the national income, the change in the national income, then per capita income consumption patterns, savings and investment habits, among the others. Then condition within the industries is also one of the factors that govern the demand forecast. So every business enterprises is only a unit of a particular industries. Sales of that business enterprise are only a part of the uh, total sales of that industries. Then we have condition within the firm. When you are talking of the condition of the internal demand forecast, because these factors include the plan, quality, price of that product, and the distribution policies, production policies, financial policies, the market behavior. While preparing the demand forecast, it is also required to consider the market behavior that brings about the changes in the what? In the demand. Then there is another one we call sociological conditions. Yes, when we are talking of these sociological conditions, it's a factor which has its own impact to the size, populations, density changes in the age group, the size of family life cycle, level of education, family family income, and social awareness. Then we have psychological condition as well. We have psychological conditions. While estimating the demand for products, becoming necessary to take into consideration such factors as changes, consumer taste, habit, fashions, likes and dislikes, attitude, perceptions, life cycle, cultural and religious band. So if you look at all this one, they are all factors that govern the demand forecast. Then we still have some steps in demand forecast. If you want to forecast for demand, then there are some steps that has to be followed. When we are talking of these steps, they are as follows. Now we need to determine the forecasting. Determine the forecasting involve the following steps. One, we talk of the subdivide the demand forecasting programs into small, that is part on the basis of product or sales territory or the market. Then it is also determine the factors affecting the sales of each product and their relative importance. Then also select the forecasting method. Then study the activities of the what? Of the competitors. At the same time, prepare the preliminary sales estimate after collecting necessary data among the other ones. Then there are some methods of demand for we have survey method, we have statistical method, we have survey method, we have statistical method, and these two methods cannot be categorized into the following. So when we are talking of the survey method, the survey are conducted to collect the information about future purpose or Then survey method about the desires or by interviewing the consumers. So only. So this is type of method that Coca-Colas are using in gathering the data of the required stock of their individual customers. So then number 2 is collective opinion method. Under this method, the salesmen estimate the expected sales in their respective territory on the basis of previous experience. So then the demand is now estimated after combining the individual forecast of the salesmen. So this method is known as sales force opinion. Then there is what we call expert opinion method. So the on this method, the expert opinion method, the demand is expected or estimated on the basis of opinion of an expert and distribution other than the salesman and ordinary consumer. So this method is otherwise known as Davy method. Then we have another one, that is consumer um, ethnics. That is consumer ethnics. So in this method, some selected buyers are given certain amount of money. They will be asked to buy the products. Then the price are changed, and the consumer consumers responses to so they are on sophisticated statistical method. Now, when we are talking of the statistical method, it use the past data as a guide for knowing the level of future demands. So statistical methods are generally used for long run forecasting, and it is used also for establishing the product. That is statistical method. The statistical method includes the following: the trend projections method, the regression and correlations method, then extrapolations method, then simultaneous equations method, and the last but not least is barometric method. Now, let us now take them one after the other. When we talk of the trend projection method, the future sales are based on the past sales record. Under the trend projection method, demands is estimated on the basis of analysis of the past data. And this method makes use of time series, that is the data over a period of time. So the trend in the time series can be estimated by using any one of the following four methods. That is the least square method, the freehand method, moving average method, and semi average method. So either the least square method, the freehand method, moving average method, and semi average method, they can be found as a tools under the trend projection method. Now we talk of number two is regression and the correlations. There is what we call regression analysis and correlations. So this method combines the economic theory relationship that are between the sales and other variables. That is, we have the dependent variables and independent variables, and such as the price of the related goods, the income advertisement, etc., as ascertained. Now, there is what we call uh, extrapolations. Under this method, that can be found under the statistical method, the future demands can be extrapolated by applying binomial expansion method. So this method is used on the assumption that the rate of change in demand in the past has been uniform. Then there is what we call a simultaneous equations method. As we all know, this involves the explain the behavior of all the variables which the um, companies can control. Now, the fifth one of that is barometric techniques. This is an improvement over the trend projection method. And according to these techniques, that means the barometric techniques, the event of the present can be used to predict the direction of the change in the future. So here, the certain economic and the statistical indicator from these from before we leave for today's class, or before we continue rather, let me quickly give you this assignment. Let me quickly give you this assignment. Critically discuss. Critically discuss the theory of firms as is related to the managerial economics. Critically discuss the theory of firms as is related to the managerial economics. Then question number two. Question number two. Discuss the basic concept. Discuss the basic concept in the production theory. Discuss the basic concept in production theory. Discuss. This has to be submitted to this email: Adekaz Management Consult 01, ADEKAZ Consult 01 at gmail.com. Let me come again: Adekaz Management Consult 01, ADEKAZ Consult 01 at gmail. I would like you to let us look at the method of demand forecast for new product. So if a product is new in the market, what are those methods that has to be put in place in forecasting for the demands? Ordinarily, the demand forecasting of a new product is more difficult than forecasting for existing product. And the reason is that the product is not available, hence, no historical data are available as well. So in these conditions, the forecasting is to be done by taking into consideration the inclinations and wishes of the customers to purchase. So for this, the research is to be conducted, but there is one problem that it is difficult for the customer to say anything without seeing or using the product. So the following method can be used for demand forecasting for a new product. There is what we call evolutionary approach. We call it evolutionary approach. This method is based on assumption the old product. So be taken into consideration while forecasting the demand for so when Biggie first came into to study the so we talk of substitute approach. Here, the new product is treated as a substitute of an existing product. A new cosmetic is to be introduced. Okay, so in a short form, having given you the assignment and the address to submit it to, so which has to be submitted or not before the next class. Anybody submit his assignment after the other class will not be checked for any reasons. So thank you for listening and have a great day ahead of you. Thank you.